Welcome to the Cardinals Squad Show. Adam Schefter paid Cardinal Land a visit and gave us 3 potential finalists for the Arizona Cardinals head coaching search. Who are they? Well, we'll talk about them.
I'm Jamil Douglas, former NFL offensive lineman. What is the biggest attribute needed in the next head coach for the Cardinals?
Alex Lancey, Locked on Cardinals, conference championship weekend. So many important things Arizona Cardinals fans need to watch for. We'll break them all down. Let's get it.
Rise up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals Squad. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
What is up? Welcome back into the Cardinals Squad Show. Appreciate you guys making us a part of your day. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms. You can find those in the descriptions down below. Reminder, Locked on Cardinals Squad Show is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So go ahead and check it out here or anywhere and become an everydayer here, as well as today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So the title of the show, the title card is the finalists. Now, we don't know if that's really the case, so I put it in little quotes there because Adam Schefter is the only reporter out there who seems to have some actual idea on what the Cardinals are going to potentially do. He gave us 3 names to look out for this Arizona Cardinals coaching circuit. Anthony Campanelli, Matt LaFleur, Raheem Morris, and I believe Vance Joseph was thrown in there. I don't think he exactly said that one, but we know that one is floating around. So, Clancy, when you heard that this morning, we're not necessarily sure if they're the finalists. The Cardinals like to keep things close to the vest. We didn't even know Anthony Campanelli was coming in for a second interview until 2 days ago after we did our show. We're like, no one said anything about the first one. What was your reaction to this potential finalist Cardinals coaching circuit?
He doesn't know any more than we do. like, come on. I mean, obviously Schefter is one of the best in the business. I say that tongue in cheek, but it's like Cardinals haven't told anybody anything. You look on Twitter and you see other organizations. We just finished interview with this. We just finished interview with this. We just finished, and it's all smoke and mirrors like it always has been. For me, when I heard those names, though, it scared me a little bit because Michael LaFleur's never called an offense. He's been a part of Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's been a part of Sean McVay's offense. He hasn't called an offense. Raheem Morris and he work together. I don't know if that could be a package deal if they do hire Michael LaFleur, bring in Raheem Morris as a DC. But by and large, we don't know jack still. And I think until this weekend's games are over, we won't.
When I saw the list, and I hadn't heard until you just said, so I was thoroughly surprised at the actual list. I think when I think about Camp and what he's kind of known for around the league, like I spent time with him in Miami while I was coaching. And so I got to see a different side of him in terms of, from a player to coach standpoint. Very well respected in the building. Guys loved him. He's one of those guys that carries a presence as he, walks through the building. And obviously we know what, Jacksonville was in terms of defense this year. I think that this list is, if you're the Cardinals and you can nail one of these hirings, I think you walk away feeling good. I'll just be honest. They're in this position where you think that they would have had a coach hired by now. And, the list of guys is, most of them would be first-time head coaches outside of Raheem Morris. I think that if that's the direction you're going, you feel relatively good about the candidates that you had. But again, there's still a lot of what ifs within that when you go and hire a guy that's never been a head coach.
So I totally agree with Clancy here that no one really knows anything, but if you put all the reporting together, I think you get something. So Jeremy Fowler and Adam Schefter both saying Campanelli. Okay, that's got some weight to it. Other people, everyone in the Denver market, and of course, Benjamin Albright saying Vance Joseph, Gambo saying Vance Joseph. It's the first time we've kind of heard of Raheem Morris, so who really knows about that? Mike LaFleur, we've seen from Albert Breer and Adam Schefter, so there you go. Now there's two there. We have kind of an idea now. Let's take these four different guys and kind of discuss it really quickly from kind of maybe least intriguing to most intriguing. Let's start with Raheem Morris really quickly. He was just fired from the Falcons, and this would be the kind of unprecedented, not necessarily, semi-unprecedented third coaching gig for him. That third head coaching gig for him. Tampa, Atlanta, and then it would be the Arizona Cardinals. Would you be surprised if that was the head coach, Clancy?
Second head coach, right?
He was a head coach with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a long time ago.
Raheem Morris?
Raheem Morris. I will put a lot of money on it.
Cool. While you put together your shekels, it's an interesting look because Raheem Morris and Jonathan Gannon are kind of
right.
Yeah,
I know I'm right.
I was just waiting for it.
I spent time around Raheem, so I'm like that.
All right, he was defensive quality control. He's a defensive assistant.
Okay, don't care.
So
already irrelevant. Already irrelevant.
Sorry.
So because I want to hear what Jamil says. Like, this is my outside look, and I'm obviously curious to hear firsthand accounts from Jamil. Like, Raheem Morris, what you wanted to see out of Jonathan Gannon down the stretch last year to potentially save his job, Raheem Morris did. Okay, so they won 4 or 5 games down the stretch that may have saved his job, but it wasn't good enough. And, the ownership over there they're some of the best and most stable in football. It's just like, listen, it's just not working, man. It's just not working. So he's gone. And they have, another adult in the room there now. Raheem Morris doesn't excite me more than Vance Joseph. Like, I would take Vance over Raheem Morris at this point, because at least you saw one side of the ball with Vance Joseph thrive. I know they've got a much better defense, much more ready-made defense right now than the Cardinals do, but I would rather have Vance over Raheem Morris at this point. That's also pending what happens on Sunday, which is what we're going to talk about in the second and fourth segments.
I don't know. I get what you're saying. I think this is where, I can draw from my experience. I think Raheem Morris excites me more than a Vance Joseph does. Why? Raheem Morris, and I'm sure at some point Vance Joseph has been on both sides of the ball. I don't know exactly, and I don't want to misquote that. But when I played in Atlanta, Raheem Morris was the wide receiver coach in that organization. He had Julio Jones, he had Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel, just a unique room in terms of who was in there. And then he goes on, throughout his coaching career, and he switches to the defensive side of the ball. Dan Quinn put him on the defensive side, and then he goes to the Rams, and he spends time, being the DC there. That intrigues me more from a standpoint of where the Cardinals are with their skill players, as well as defensively within that conference. I know you got something to say.
No. Let me ask you this, because there's actually a line. There's a comparison between the two with Vance and Raheem. What have you experienced? And not to put you on the spot here, I'm just curious. Have you experienced a coordinator coming back to the same team and becoming the head coach? Because Raheem Morris did it. Vance Joseph would do it. Vance Joseph also coached in Denver. Like, a coordinator to head coach, even though the personnel may be different, is there a downside to that? Because somebody's a boss that wasn't a boss during their first time there?
No, I wouldn't say there's a downside to it. I do think that, organizations change. There's always turnover and things like that. And so it doesn't always, work that way. What I will say about Raheem Morris is I've always, for instance, I've said that they need to have a young, energetic guy, somebody that, can kind of have a swagger in terms of how he walks through the building and things like that. Raheem Morris is able to relate to players in a way that I've rarely seen around the league in terms of a coach. And so I think guys gravitate to that. Like you said, we got to see Raheem, the Atlanta Falcons play against the Josh Allen-led Bills, who were in the playoffs, and they made them look like, silly. JV. We got to see them play against the Rams. They beat the Rams. Like those type of things are attracting to me. I think, there's some mishaps in terms of what their season looked like as a whole. They lose their quarterback, things like that. But I think Raheem Morris to me seems a bit more attractive given where the Cardinals are on both sides of the ball.
We kind of hit on Vance there. We've talked about Vance a fair amount on this show. I don't think we need to get any more of it. And I think he's the least popular out of all of them. Let's talk a little bit about Coach Campanelli as well. Let's talk. Here's some of the things that kind of makes him an intriguing candidate. In just 1 year, Campanelli helped the Packers. What was that?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Did I say what was that?
That's Leon. That's Leon Sandcastle.
We're gonna say Coach Camp for the sake of everyone.
The Jaguars. Well, he coached the Jaguars, so at least
I can't say
nothing in Jacksonville. Can you pronounce?
Can I speak?
Happy Friday, Ben. Yeah, you're allowed to speak.
He took Jacksonville's defensive group, which was the fifth most points in the league allowed the year before, and turned that into the eighth most in 19.8 a game. He also had the second most takeaways on Jacksonville's defense, as well as was the top ranked rushing defense in the NFL. He kind of feels like the Jersey tough-nosed Italian version of Jonathan Gannon, where he just brings more personality to it. And you could argue, I think maybe that's what the Cardinals might need to this team, is someone who I'm not even sure loves football, but just likes fighting people. And again, someone out there that I think could be a motivator and a teacher of this game. And he's an interesting candidate when I saw him pop up and did just an ounce of research on him. Jamil, you obviously mentioned that you've got a better insight on this than we do. Would you consider that one a win if Coach Camp was the new coach of the Cardinals?
I mean, you're taking a chance essentially. I don't think anyone really knows, is Camp the right guy for the job? Like, he's had this emergence since Jacksonville turned their, I thought Jacksonville was going to have a mediocre season. They figured it out after, the win versus Kansas City, and they started kind of doing their thing. And so, of course, the coordinator is going to get, a ton of more recognition. And so, to me, you'll be taking a massive chance, right? It'd be different if this was 3 or 4 years and they've been like this, for 4 years straight, and you can say he's our guy that can lead our team. I think right now, because he hasn't had that chance, eventually he'll get that chance. I would not feel comfortable with it, but again, sometimes you take a chance on guys and things work out. And so who am I to say, whether he would be successful or not? I just feel like it's too early for me to tell if he is head coach material.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. The Cardinals, there's going to be a Mike McDonald and Liam Cohen in this group. We just don't know who it is yet. Right? So there's going to be somebody on either side of the ball who's not a retread that is going to pop. And it's like, how did we not look at the tea leaves and be like, I don't care that it was only 17 weeks. The dude had it and you let it slip. Okay. It happens every cycle when it's like this, where it's a bunch of new dudes who are coming in and haven't had a job before. Where the Cardinals' advantage is, which is backwards, but it actually works their advantage. This is the dumb luck thing, where it's like, okay, the only reason the Cardinals are getting these interviews is because they're so dysfunctional and they were so bad last year. That doesn't mean the guy they hire isn't going to be the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, with Robert Saleh gone, he wasn't even the greatest option. He was just the best option that I saw out of the group from somebody who's coached before. You go first-timer, you have a chance to hit the lottery. Okay? You have a chance to hit the lottery, which could change everything. And I know that seems like grasping at straws in a situation that's terrible and not any sort of high point or positivity. But the beauty of bringing in a young DC, which I would bring in a young DC, not OC. I want the offense to be a 1099 employee with this team. I want one guy to run it. I don't want that new head coach to also call the plays and have the defense. I want a young defensive-minded guy to just overhaul that. And I think you could find the next Mike Macdonald.
Let's go over to our final guy. We're going to run a little bit longer here, but that's okay because I want to spend a little bit of time. Mike LaFleur too, who is the OC for the Los Angeles Rams. We have seen this coaching tree kind of work out before. Liam Cohen, Kevin O'Connell, both OCs for Sean McVay. Those two guys, pretty good offensive play callers. Mike LaFleur has called plays before. It was just with the New York Jets when he was the OC there. He ended up losing his job for it was just one season, I believe, with the New York Jets as well. That was 2021 to 2022. And then Nat Hackett came in and, him and Aaron Rodgers, that just blossomed as well. So Mike LaFleur, there is some skepticism that maybe he could bring Raheem Morris with him as a DC. That could be interesting. Clancy, what's your thoughts on LaFleur? I know maybe not great for you.
It's the biggest question mark. I don't care what the tree is. He hasn't called plays anywhere. He hasn't called plays, so you're going to bring him in.
He's called with the New York Jets. He was the OC there.
How'd that go?
I'm just saying.
I don't care about the excuses. I don't care about the quarterback stuff. I don't care. It doesn't matter. He didn't perform well in the one chance that he had to call plays.
Zach Wilson. It's not great.
It doesn't matter. Coordinators get fired all the time for bad quarterback play. It doesn't matter. He hasn't called plays in any sort of winning environment as a whole. So you're going to have him come in, be a head coach that he's never been before in a bad situation and call plays. That sounds fascinating. We've done that with Cliff already. I don't care that it's different. I think maybe that's my PTSD, but it's I don't want that to be the end result and just hope that he can do it on his own and run a team at the same time. Hopefully without the fruit breaks and cell phone breaks that Cliff did.
That does feel like Cliff PTSD. So I can see it coming from your eyes, but it does make sense. Jamil?
No, I'm with Clancy on this. He hasn't called plays. This is Sean McVay's offense and Matt Stafford's offense. There's a huge benefit in terms of what the Rams have on the totem pole before it gets to LaFleur. And so, again, you be taking a chance. I think his next step is to be a full-time coordinator where the play calling is solely based on him, and then you can kind of judge, but you be taking a chance by hiring as a head coach.
All right, let's move on. Just really quickly, let's take account for the four guys that we just talked about. Who would you guys select out of those guys? I would take LaFleur. Okay, you got to pick one. This is no 27-17.
Okay. Of the four?
Of those four, Vance is in there too.
I'd probably take the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive coordinator.
I hate this guy. Jamil?
I'll take Raheem.
All right, Raheem. LaFleur.
Can you just say it for me one time? Say it for me one time.
No, I'm so self-conscious about it now.
You should be.
We're moving on.
You're a grown man who can't pronounce the word Jaguars.
We're going to talk about what to watch for this
weekend. Grown is a stretch.
We're going to talk about the Cardinals head coaching search and how it relates to this weekend, and we're going to do it next. Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life this year. TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deductible. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert doesn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. All right, let's talk about how this weekend, what to watch for in this weekend's conference championship game, how it relates to the Cardinals coaching search. As we know, there's obviously two prominent guys of their focus, Vance Joseph with the Denver Broncos, Chris Shula, who were literally unaware. They did request that interview. We're unaware if that interview ever happened. Everything is close to the vest for the Cardinals. Maybe it happens after this week. And then Mike LaFleur as well. Clancy, how would you like to frame this? What are you looking for?
Well, here's the thing. This is the beautiful thing. Clint Kubiak, Chris Shula, Mike LaFleur, Vance Joseph. This is the perfect setup to know exactly what these guys are in crunch time situations. It may not matter, but if Vance Joseph does get the job and he shuts down Drake May in that offense with no quarterback and the Broncos win and give up 10 points, that goes a longer way than people think. This is the conference championship game. This is the perfect situation with Bo Nix not being there to see what VJ is made of. Chris Shula, if you can shut down Sam Darnold, again, they only gave up, I think, 17 points or something, or 19 points, whatever it was last time. If you can do that, that's a big deal. Mike LaFleur, I have no idea. Clint Kubiak, if you can put up a lot of points against his Ram defense with Sam Darnold, that's a big deal. They're not deal breakers because the Cardinals can't be picky, but these are the best case scenarios. Interdivision rival for the conference. They know each other better than anybody. And then no quarterback for a defense and Vance Joseph leads. I'm jacked up. Like, this is huge for the Cardinals. These are great situations to watch this happen.
Yeah,
you know?
I think the biggest spotlight is on Vance Joseph.
I agree.
If that's what it seems like, the Cardinals are leaning towards in their coaching search, the spotlight is on him because of, what we've heard. Drake May's MVP caliber season, and they don't have their starting quarterback. This defense has been talked about since the beginning of the year as being elite. And so if Vance Joseph comes out and, like Clancy said, he holds this offense to 10 points and they get turnovers and things like that, you would have to think that the Cardinals would zero in on a Vance Joseph to be the next head coach. As far as the Rams and the Seahawks go, like, I think I don't really want to put too much stock. I think Chris Shula, but for whatever reason, he's not on really the search list from everything I've seen. But
from what we know, because no one really knows. They requested that interview, but we have no idea. If it happened. Right,
correct. And so I think for Chris Shula, it's, you kind of know what you're going to get out of a Chris Shula. I don't know that they're going to be able to shut down Seattle's offense, but like, as a prospect and as a, soon to be head coach, I think he's a good candidate. I just feel like the spotlight's on Vance Joseph in terms of what the Cardinals, I think, are looking for.
It's sorry, continue. Go for it.
That's it. No, you're good.
Well, I was going to say, it's kind of the guy that I think is most interesting because we don't know if they had the interview yet and no one seems to know what the hell is going on. And when it comes to the Cardinals coaching search, someone could just pop out of thin air. That's kind of what happened with Jonathan Gannon. I'm curious to see what happens this weekend with Chris Shula. I think if we're talking about a guy who feels like the highest floor, I think it would be Chris Shula, given the fact, that Rams defense has played pretty well, despite the fact that their corners aren't great. They've manufactured a pretty good pass rush all year. I'm curious to see if that plays a role this weekend in, as Clancy likes to say, turning the Seattle Seahawks offense into a pumpkin. So that's the one for me that I think is most interesting because we haven't heard a lot about him. In terms of Vance Joseph stuff, God, I couldn't care. I couldn't care less if his defense shuts them out for 0 points this weekend. There is such a body of work with Vance Joseph where he's been in the league for a very long time before, feels like I was watching this guy coach when the Denver Broncos when I was in like high school. So that is the one for me that I think is set in stone, and maybe that's my own biases. But in all reality, what if Clint Kubiak gets stuffed in a locker by Chris Shula this weekend? Like, does that make us think differently? I think it makes me think differently already that his name's kind of been quiet in the head coaching search.
I kind of think Kubiak is
the most solidified.
No, I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. Like dude,
I think he's gonna stay too.
When you think about it, like why would you? In terms of Sam Darnold's still a relatively young quarterback, given, where his career has gone since leaving the Vikings. You've got running backs on offense. You got receivers on offense. Like, I think, if I don't know. If I'm him and I'm weighing my options, I guess maybe the Raiders in terms of potential, and with the running back, tight end, things like that. Quarterback that will be a rookie, gives you time to kind of get your feet wet as a head coach. The Cardinals aren't attractive to me if I'm Kubiak, just in terms of where the quarterback position is.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think Clint Kubiak with the Raiders, because he can grow with a new quarterback, like you said. Like, that's first, like the GM's there, Clint Kubiak, they've got a whole bunch of money. They've got Ashton Genty. They've got Brock Bowers, who's going to be there for the next decade. Like, this is splitting.
And that's where it ends.
Well, it doesn't matter. Sorry. The Cardinals are the Cardinals are a joke. They're supposed to win 10 games this year. There was no expectation for the Raiders this season. Like, put it this way. This is now a game of musical chairs where there's only 4 chairs left, and there's like 10 dudes circling it. Okay? So 1 of 32 is going to make the Arizona Cardinals job look attractive to somebody. That could be Sean McDermott. People have told me that I'm crazy. If he wants to coach and not be a DC, you want the Cleveland Browns or the Raiders or the Cardinals?
For sure. Maybe
the Raiders, but does he want to go through a rebuild with a young quarterback after being with Josh Allen? Like, the Cardinals' job is going to look more and more attractive as it gets closer to 2 a.m. It's like, it's going to be one of those things where they're going to get, like, at this point, let's take a second here. The dominoes have fallen absolutely perfectly for the Cardinals. Not a big name went to Baltimore. Okay. Nobody wants Pittsburgh's job. They're probably going to give it to Mike McCarthy because he's a Pittsburgh cat. And then Stefanski went to Atlanta. A first-name dude went to Miami. There are now 4 teams left with the Bills, right? Bills, and then that's
Steelers, Raiders, Cardinals.
Oh yeah, so there's 5.
Browns,
Sorry, so there's 5.
Browns.
There's 5.
Yeah,
so Daboll is probably going to go to Buffalo, but like, dude, they're going to get somebody much better than you thought they were going to get when this started. This is a great scenario for them, even though the names aren't household names. That's what makes the Vance Joseph thing a little bit more like, huh? But for him, then going to the Mike LaFleur thing, he had Brock Osweiler and Case Keenum when he was a head coach. Okay, so if we can't move the goalposts when he had bad quarterback play when he was a head coach also. So that ruins, so many jobs. So I don't know, man. I'm more excited now than I was 2 weeks ago. I don't know.
Yes. Okay. So that's good. I know this isn't pertain to the conversation as much, but
Jaguars.
Clancy is absolutely right.
Jaguars.
With all there is a multitude of, even if you don't like the candidate, you're like, I understand why the Cardinals hired him. What if they hire Vance Joseph and there's Sean McDermott on the board? And listen, people can say what they want about Mike McCarthy. He's won a lot of games. Mike McCarthy on the board. Chris Shula, Clint Kubiak. Like, I think there's a real possibility Clint Kubiak just stays in Seattle. What happens if that's the case? What is that? Is that a more of an indictment on the Cardinals and their perceived what they are around the NFL? Or do you think that is a Michael Bidwell went cheap?
No.
Go ahead.
I just don't think it's an indictment. I think it's just the reality of what the league is right now. Coaches understand that if they don't have a quarterback, or if they're not, in year 2 or 3 turning the franchise around, that they're gone. And so a lot of coaches are going to be hesitant unless it's the right situation with the right ownership and the right timing. I just think that's the landscape of what the NFL has come to.
Yeah. And, say the dudes want to stay, whatever. Say Clint Kubiak wants to stay. Oh, man, what a tough career choice to stay with a team that made the NFC Championship game. I'll tell you what, the next head coach cycle, I guarantee will be better than this one. This is an all-time bad one. Like Miami, the dysfunction there, sure, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they're only going to hire a certain type of guy. There's going to be a lot better opportunities than the Raiders, the Cardinals, and the Browns next cycle. So if you want to wait one more, maybe win a Super Bowl in the process, do what Ben Johnson did. I always talk about normalizing paying coordinators enough to keep them to stay so they don't leave. Yeah. So you can actually build something for more than 2 years before they take a head coaching job. Just the Cardinals are not going to get who they want. They need to get 80% of what they want. And I think they will, but they will no matter what, regardless if the fans want them to or not. Yeah, I do. I just saw a report that the Cleveland Browns are making interviewees take personality tests. They have them take questionnaires and stuff. At least it's not that. It's like, what are they?
Well, to be fair, we don't know.
I think I might be able to fool the Cleveland Browns to hire me.
What are they applying for Verizon or something? They're applying for a cell phone place job. It's like, what are we doing here? So it's money, and they just got to get a little lucky.
I hate it here. There, I said it.
Jaguars.
Okay, moving on.
Jaguars.
What is the most important attribute needed in the next Arizona Cardinals head coach, along with other attributes that are obviously going to be needed
one time.
as well?
Say it correct one time, and I'll let it go.
Just once.
And we're going to talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Game Time. The NFL season is in full swing, and there's nothing like being in the game, the crowd noise, the energy, and cheering alongside with other fans. Watching at home is great, but being in the stadium, it's different. The frustrating part has always been getting tickets, waiting in queues, dealing with logins, and watching price changes happen right at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Listen, I've pulled up the Game Time app to check out upcoming NFL games multiple different times. I've used it to go to multiple games to multiple different times. I love that it shows me the view from my seat, and it also allows me to see the price that I see is the price that I'm going to pay. The zone deals stand out to me. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save even more. Seeing NFL tickets are available for around $100. For around $100 makes it easy to plan a game day trip. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and get back to being there live. Okay, so this is a really interesting topic of conversation that I'm surprised we haven't talked about yet. What is the most important attribute that the next Cardinals head coach needs to have? The biggest, the most important, whatever adjective you want to use to describe what the Arizona Cardinals head coach needs, let's talk about that. There's leadership, there's schematics, there's the other stuff. Jamil, if you're a player.
Not anymore.
What is the most important? Where are you a player? You're not a player anymore in here or in here, Jamil? In your heart or your head?
Nowhere. Listen, you're trying to get me in trouble.
Yeah. Security number?
There's a few attributes. I don't know that I can narrow it down to one. I do think at the top of the list, culture and leadership are head to head for me. We talked about this a few weeks ago in terms of what Jonathan Gannon was, and he was the bridge between where the Cardinals were and where they're going.
Where they still are.
Well, hopefully where they're going is what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
In a perfect world. Leadership and culture. Example, Mike Vrabel. Example, Sean McVay, Ben Johnson, guys that establish the standard around the building and really aren't afraid to kind of, just live by it, I think is the most important thing. And under that has to be X's and O's. Just given the amount of talent that you have on this roster and the fact that it hasn't been maximized, you have to be able to hit that on the head as well. So I'll say leadership and culture, and then under that is X's and O's as far as like strategy.
Cool. You want to take them all so none of us get any? No, you didn't even say mine.
I can keep going.
You didn't even say mine.
There's a lot of things the Cardinals need.
The most important one by far, player development. That's it. The leadership stuff is going to come. Most head coaches aren't bad leaders, right? I mean, who's been in the league for a while? Most head coaches aren't completely aloof to that. Or you have coordinators who can do it as a unified front. For me, there's way too much talent on this team over the last couple of seasons that hasn't been realized. We saw on the defensive side of the ball last year with Nick Rallis, 2024. We saw that with Nick Rallis. They played out of their minds. The first part of this season, they played out of their minds. Injuries derailed it, but I think the Marv thing is a player development problem. I don't think it's all a Marv problem. It's a scheme problem too, but I want a head coach who can develop his side of the ball. I don't care what side it is. I need it to be developed, and that's a lot more of that is the defensive side. You look at Will Johnson and Walter Nolan as the anchor for your team for the next 7 or 8 years. You want that development to be coming from day one that was derailed so quickly last year.
I ain't gonna lie, I'd be pissed if I had to develop a Marvin Harrison Jr. Excuse me. You, sir, are a unicorn.
Yeah,
Your 80% should be better than a lot of guys 100%.
What if he's not a unicorn and he's just a stallion? What if he's just a stallion?
Hey,
Stallions are great.
Those are rare too.
All right,
Those are
fine.
rare
What about just a good horse?
A pony? He's not a pony. It costs too much to be a pony.
It's so stupid. My most important attribute for me, I look at the NFL playoffs right now, and I look at the 4 guys in it: Sean McVay, Mike McDonald, Mike Vrabel, and Sean Payton. This is, I think, the hardest thing to get, but I want an absolute mastermind at their side of the ball when it comes to schematics and exploiting the other team's weakness over and over and over again. Sean
What's your
Payton
next choice? What's your next choice? Who do you think is going to be in the hiring circle here?
Well, Clancy, that's actually really interesting. You mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Someone here is a Liam Cohen. I do think there is a chance LaFleur or Camp is a Liam Cohen. How high of a chance is that? I don't really know. Liam Cohen came from the Los Angeles Rams coaching tree. We didn't know he'd be this great. I would have told you the same thing that you're saying this year. Sean McVay's offense. And then when you talk about Camp, well, listen, he did revolutionize that or revitalize that Jacksonville Jags defense last year.
How is it so difficult? I want to stop the show. I want to take the next 23 minutes.
Jags defense last year, and it really worked out. One of the things that's really interesting about Camp is I think that he is a leader. One of the things about that clip that went viral about the Miami Dolphins was, why was the linebacker coach, he wasn't even the DC, why is the linebacker coach addressing the team? Why is he doing the rah-rah thing? Shouldn't that be the head coach? Shouldn't that be the DC? I think one of those two guys or someone in this coaching cycle, even Chris Shula, might be that, and the Cardinals need to do everything they can to find that, because if they do, everything else, I think we'll figure out. How much of a leader is Mike McDaniel? I don't know, but he got Tua to the playoffs twice. I think schematics get you further than any of those other things. Do I want the whole package? Yes. But I look at the conference championship right now, 3 of the 4 coaches for sure, you could say that's what you're looking for. Guys that will exploit your weaknesses over and over and over again. That's what Mike McDonald did. That's what Sean Payton did with the Bills safeties last week when they went out with injuries. That's what Sean McVay always does the Cardinals freaking all the time. That's what I'm looking for. Someone who is a schematics maestro on whatever side of the ball they are, and then we'll figure it out with talent elsewhere. Someone who does more with less.
After that soliloquy, Jamil, you rolled your eyes about 8 minutes ago. So
I don't want to get into it.
Okay, so that's a Jaguars thing. That's fine. So here's the thing. They could find the diamond in the rough that I mentioned. It's not even a diamond in the rough. It's something that just hasn't been realized yet. So it's not dumb luck. It's just the future hasn't happened yet. So we don't know how good this first-time head coach is going to be. So you need to take the best educated guess, which they probably won't. And the biggest attribute is what can circumvent a first-time head coach. What can a team do as we get back, Ben, up here? What can we do? What can this team do to circumvent the bumpy road that a first-time head coach goes through? Have good players and play well. And player development right out the gate is something that can happen right away, as opposed to having to be a head coach and scheme to beat another team that you've never coached against before from this position. Like, we're splitting hairs here because it's like, how did we get here still?
So,
and listen, the big thing about all these coaches that we mentioned is they had a pretty decent quarterback situation upon arrival to their teams.
Yeah.
I mean, Liam Cohen
That's right.
walks into Trevor Lawrence. Even Mike Vrabel walks into Drake May. We know what Sean McVay had. Obviously, you know, he had Jared Goff, but then Matt Stafford. Like, the reality of the situation is it's not who the Cardinals want. It's who wants the Cardinals.
But that's getting, you said that before, which is right. But now it's getting closer to 2 a.m. It's getting closer to 1 of 32. And so that could up the level of coach that comes here, right?
Or these
they go
coaches,
back to their holes.
These coaches can go back to they're who's at home and say, hey, I'm good until my name comes around next time. Like that is a real situation. I mean, we just saw Brian Flores literally re-signed, and he was someone
that's crazy.
That's
crazy.
He re-signed, so did Mike McDaniel, contingent upon them not getting a head coaching job.
True.
Both of them re-signed with the contingency of that. So
yeah, for sure.
But so listen, let me ask you this. I put this on Twitter. Like, if you were Sean McDermott, would you rather be the DC for the Chargers or the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals?
I think Sean McDermott's earned the right to be a head coach, and
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what if he just sits at home? Because
people don't. I know he's getting paid by Buffalo and stuff. I get that. It's not about the money when it comes to this. Like, they're football coaches, man. They've coached since they were 25, 30 years old. Like, this is what they do.
For sure. Sure. I don't think any of that is necessarily wrong, Clancy, but I think what do you think is more likely? He stays home or he takes the Cardinals job?
I think he takes the Cardinals job.
Do you think how about this? Do you think that that is any how much of a possibility do you think that is right now?
Oh, very little, very slim. But if there's, say, Pittsburgh doesn't hire him, which they won't. Say Vegas, they want a young guy in there. They don't want 79-year-old. I know he's not that. He's probably in his 50s. Like, that's 51. Not a fit. Maybe Cleveland is probably the biggest fit because it's, rough and tumble and the dog pound and, cold, bad weather, and Sean McDermott, like, he's done it. Do you want Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel to be your future? Do you have to draft another quarterback? Like,
you got Deshaun.
Well, and Deshaun Watson's going to start next year probably because they're paying him all of King Midas's gold. But they've got the thing they've got is picks.
McDermott wouldn't be a bad gig in Cleveland now.
Okay,
but the question is, Jamil, have you not eaten today? You're just stirring it up a little bit more. Is your blood sugar low?
You know what happened? Need a snack? You guys want me to tell you exactly what happened? I had an Oreo cookie shake coming to the house.
Damn.
The person was supposed to be here at 3:58. They took the wrong turn. So the minute we started, the shake arrived outdoors, and I know that the shake is melted at this point.
There's been 2
and you're taking it out on us.
Hey, man,
come on, man.
I got kids, bro. I go out there, 30 seconds turns into 2 minutes.
I knew something was up with you. See, I'm learning. You were a little saucier today than normal.
Yeah. I'll get that shake later.
Would you rather? But is Cleveland a better job than the Cardinals?
No, but I think about pieces that you have.
And the money that the ownership would spend with Cleveland, they wouldn't spend here. I think that's obvious.
And I think a McDermott looks at that like, I can do something here in terms of what the situation actually is, not right now, but what it could be.
Right, but then you're also got Lamar, and like the other thing with this for me with the Cardinals stuff, and I know we got to move on, but like Matt Stafford's going to play for another year. If he wins it, I'm assuming he's going to John Elway at the end of the year. Like,
that'd be smart.
So say he wins it and he rides off into the sunset. Okay, so then you got a quarterback situation in with the Rams. Who knows what's going to happen with Seattle? Their defense is going to be good for a long time, but things change so much in the NFL that it's like you suck it up for a year. They're going to be bad this year anyways. Who knows what happens in 2026? It could weaken the entirety of the of the schedule and everything like that moving forward. It's not ideal, but it's like You got Lamar and Joe Burrow twice a year each if you take Cleveland.
How come none of us, okay, let me ask this. What would be Sean McDermott's best quality coming to Arizona? Is
Stability.
Stability.
Yeah.
Stability. Okay, that's
winning.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, he took
winning
an organization that was missing from the playoffs 17 years, and they made it 8 out of his 9 years there. And so
that's right.
When you look about the experience of turning the culture and a football organization around, you don't have to worry, does he have the tools to do it? You just have to give him every resource to do it.
Yeah, because there were years. They chose to start Nathan Peterman as their best option one year. Tyrod Taylor didn't get a fair shot at all there. They had bad rosters. They drafted Sammy Watkins top 5. They had it was bad for a long time, man. Like, I know they had Mario Williams and Sean Merriman, I think, at the same time. Like, they had pretty good defenses, but they were bad for a decade plus. They were bad and getting beat up by Tom Brady. And like, it's just, and then Sean McDermott comes in and he goes, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Let's move forward.
Bills legend EJ Manuel. Forgot about him.
Yeah.
I guess I would say this. We'll end it here. If Sean McDermott wants Arizona, will Michael Bidwell be willing to pay $17 million a year for him? $15 million a year.
$17 million. Yeah, I think it'd be 13.
13. Okay, that's a fair number.
Do you want to pay him now, or do you want to pay him when you fire a first-time head coach in 2 years and still have to pay him for 2 years that he's not coaching? That's the biggest thing for me. It's like, pay it forward, homie. Pay it forward. Maybe you can actually live out the entirety of the contract and not have to pay 4 guys at a time. It's a tradition unlike any other in Phoenix. Suns, Cardinals, they're always paying multiple coaches. 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I told you guys this the other day when Sean McDermott got fired. Yeah. I don't understand why the headline was not Monty Ossenford and Michael Bidwell have taken a plane to pick up Sean McDermott from Buffalo and bring him to Arizona. I don't understand why that is not a thing, or at least an attempt. The Cardinals want to have him. I'm not understanding it.
That's right.
You think they called Sean McDermott? And it was star 67. And when he said, "Hey, this is Michael Bidwell," he just hung up the phone right there. They're going to show up at his doorstep. Michael
star
Scott
67 is the wrong star 67 is the wrong usage there.
No, you call it restricted. You don't want him to know that it's the Cardinals calling him.
Oh, so you did know what that was. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, no, I've used it before. How do you think I got my wife's number? I had to talk to my wife somehow.
Oh, was there restraining? Like, was there? Okay,
can't talk about it on air.
Probably
can't talk about it on air.
Fantastic. This is really good for the friendly area. It's good.
Moving on. Will the title games play a role this weekend? Or honestly, are the Cardinals just waiting for a couple of guys to come available, interview them, and potentially give them the job? Let's talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing, momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boost gives you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet on something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. I was hoping Jamil had ran out to go get his shake, but it's not happening. It's not. That thing is going to be
somehow that's Ben's fault too.
Yeah,
it was a pie around Thanksgiving.
It is Ben's fault. Ben, just send me one. Actually, no, I don't want you knowing my address.
He'll star 67 you.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Jaguars. Say it one time.
I got a text
Say
the other day from I got a
Just say
text the
Just say it.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
No.
Jaguars.
Good job.
Jaguars.
Okay.
Close enough, buddy.
Yep, I'm done.
How will the title games play a role this weekend? Will it play a role, or do the Arizona Cardinals kind of already have their minds made up? We have seen the Mike LaFleur connection, Vance Joseph. Are the Cardinals just waiting for those two guys to become available, Clancy?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one Jamil alluded to earlier, it's the Vance Joseph one. Like, let's talk about realistic things. We're talking about La La Land. They're most likely going to hire Vance Joseph. Yeah. Like anybody who talks
because you say no one knows. Why do you say that?
Well, no, so no one knows because the Cardinals don't follow protocol for anything with the media. They at all. Because they think they're like this is how I say it. They run their organization like they've won 10 Super Bowls. Don't worry, guys. We got this. We know what we're doing. Let us do it. It's a little rudimentary. True. Look at all the trophies when it's really just, fourth, NFC West, fourth place green ribbons. Like it's with Vance Joseph, some odds out there, the odds on favorite, he has been for 6 weeks. I think part of that has to do with their inability to actually, bring him in because they're still playing. So that could be one thing. I don't think Michael Bidwell has it in him to hire somebody he doesn't know.
That is terrible, Michael.
That is so bad.
But I mean, that's
so
right.
Bad.
Like at this point, so the Cliff thing was Steve Keim trying to save his job, Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray. He gambled on it. It ruined the organization. Now, Jonathan Gannon, they tampered that. He's like, let me get the DC on the best team, which made sense, even though I said Shane Steichen at the time. And then this one, it's like, let's play it safe. If I'm going to be shelling out this kind of cash, let's play it safe, which is the recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is safe about Vance Joseph? Like, I know that that's what they're going to paint it as, but what is safe about Vance? Is it safe to say you're going to have a middle of the pack defense and then have to fire him in 2 years? Because it won't. I think they'll give the guy another year no matter what.
I think why Vance Joseph is safe is because, and this is not like my thought process on it, I'm just thinking in terms of the question, because he's on the coaching staff with Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And Sean Payton is who he is. And so it boosts Vance Joseph's stock a little bit in terms of what he does. And so I don't think that the title games will really play a role. I think that the Cardinals are kind of in this position where it's Vance's job unless they can persuade a Sean McDermott or they get word that Vance doesn't want to become a head coach. Like that's just where I'm at with it. Like I said, the spotlight is on him. There's nothing that I think can happen this week that changes where the Cardinals are. That being said, there's other teams that may be a little bit more attractive. And so, like I said, if you're the Cardinals, I think you got to start putting your money where your mouth is. And the fact that you're saying, oh, I don't want to, if that is what Michael Bidwell is saying in terms of, which I could see that being the case, he wants to pay Vance Joseph because he's comfortable with who Vance Joseph is on a personal level. You better hope and pray that when the season's over, he says, yeah, I'm ready to take this on as my next challenge, instead of saying, I'm going to stay with my young defense that has a bunch of pass rushers and potential, and I got a quarterback and we got an offense that we're building around. So that's where I'm at with it.
What's the best option for Vance Joseph to stay? They win the Super Bowl or they lose embarrassingly in the AFC Championship game?
I think or
he's gone either way.
Nah, I think if they lose, he wants to stay because he feels like it'd be different if Bo Nix was playing and they got a full shot at this thing and they just didn't cut it. But to feel like I really don't, especially if they struggle on offense, I really don't know what we could have done in this game had we had our guy. Now, who knows? Jarrett Stidham could come out and pull a Nick Foles on us, and we will all be sitting on our hands next week. But I think he'll stay if they lose. I think if they beat the Patriots, like, wow, yeah, he's going to be your next head coach somewhere.
I think it's going to be VJ, but the only thing that the Schefter thing where he actually is paying attention to the Cardinals now, and because I know the Ravens so he actually remembers the Cardinals are a team that, like, maybe has been new things that have come to light with the new names. Raheem's a new one. Matt Burke has completely fallen out, the DC for Houston, who's in a similar situation. He's got a great defense. Would you rather stay there or be a head coach, come back home where he was here, the defensive line coach in 2022 with Zach Allen and JJ Watt? Like, is that not, like, again, I think at this point, boys, we know what we know, but as Jamil mentioned very astutely, like, Vance Joseph has the most to coach for on Sunday. I think everything else is kind of written.
What should we be rooting for this weekend? Like, Patriots? I'm assuming we should, Patriots, and then other side. I guess I should have said who we were rooting for in the NFC.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter because it doesn't. Here's why. If Clint Kubiak, so I'm actually not of the belief. Jamil, do you think Vance Joseph is going to be the head coach? Yay, nay?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah. I'm not of the belief, and this is of my own stupid mind. I don't think Michael Bidwell is this dumb. No one is this dumb.
What's one thing that has given you the idea that that's true?
None. But the belief that he is not this dumb. That there's no way he can be the only person in this world that I'm not saying that I am saying this, but I'm not saying he doesn't have a better chance succeeding somewhere else. He might. But in what world do we think he could survive in this kind of unstable, like we're already talking about, like it's going to take a Liam Cohen type of head coach to come and turn this around, and we're throwing darts at the wall, praying that something sticks in someone's Liam Cohen. For Vance Joseph, whatever, he might work somewhere. I highly doubt it, but he's definitely not going to work here. How does Michael Bidwell, like, is he just a terrible businessman too? He just wants to keep throwing money at contracts. Like, I can't.
Thing.
And I'm just saying, all that might be true. And Clancy's looking at me like I have 6 heads, and that's totally fair. But there's no way you're this dumb.
Keep going, though.
I really think it's Mike LaFleur. I think they're going to hire Mike LaFleur. And it's only because I don't think he is this stupid. And Mike LaFleur is the only guy that I've seen reported multiple times from Schefter and from Benjamin Albright that they're into those, that he has been named twice. So
I don't think Mike LaFleur is ready to go up against his best friend Sean McVay, a Mike McDonald, and a Kyle Shanahan every year. I literally think he'll say, I'll take my chances over in the AFC somewhere.
And Vance Joseph, Vance Joseph coached here for 4 years. He knows what it's like here. So it's the opposite of what you said. He knows what this environment's like. No, he was the stable force with that team. The defense was the strength of this team, even though it wasn't very good. You couldn't trust that offense. How quickly we forget how this offense was completely anemic or the best thing on the planet, and every 10 minutes it changed. The defense was the stable side.
Yeah, being the one wheel on a bunch of spare tires, but that wheel's about to go out is not a strength. You don't get credit for being the student that got a C in the class where everyone else got
You get credit for having the best defense in football? Or a top 3 defense in football, or no? Vance Joseph, you have a top 3 defense. Do you get credit for that?
Sure.
Mike LaFleur is an unknown
for sure.
Times 1,000.
Okay, you guys are turning this into me arguing that I think LaFleur is better. I think LaFleur and his unknown is probably better than Vance Joseph, but that's not the argument that I was making.
You just said that's the argument you're making.
No. The argument I'm making is that Michael Bidwell isn't this dumb. Like, this is not from my perspective.
Worse argument.
This is not from my perspective. I can make the argument that Mike LaFleur is because we know what Vance Joseph is. That's the evil I know. I know it's not going to work out. And I'm with you guys. I'm a little bit higher, but I think it's like a 30-70 shot it works.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It's got to be. 0% shot it's going to work with Vance Joseph.
How do you know that?
Because Clancy, his final year, 21st in yards per game, 24th in yards per game, and 31st in points per game.
Let me ask you a question.
He's bad.
Let me ask you a question.
With J.J. Watt, with Chandler Jones, they gave him Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons. Like, he's terrible.
Let me ask you a question. Who was quarterback for the last half of that season? Oh, that's right. Kyler Murray tore his ACL. That's right. Cliff Kingsbury is notorious. What do you mean? I just told you what?
You just told me that Mike LaFleur should be judged harsh enough because he had Zach Wilson as his quarterback. So which is it?
No. Oh, okay.
That's
Mike LaFleur, they scored like 10 points a game, and this is a defensive side of the ball thing. This is you chasing your tail, telling you yourself you're right and wrong at the same time, and we're just sitting here. That's what the last 5 minutes was. You're arguing with yourself. I'm trying to stop that from happening.
My argument is just, I don't, and I know it's not, this is the worst argument I would believe I'd make on this part alone.
Careful.
Because Michael Bidwell is an idiot, and he's an incompetent owner. There's no way that he does this. So I'm going to lean towards I don't think it happens.
There's a way.
Okay. There's a way. Just like there's a way that there's a melted Oreo shake on a deck right now.
I shouldn't say that there's no way.
There's a way that there's a grown man that can't say a spotted member of the cat family's name properly.
Maybe I just need this. Maybe I'm choosing to believe in the good thing.
I don't know.
With that being said, this is not the Jacksonville Jaguars show. Jaguars show.
No, you just have an accent saying it there now. I give up.
That's how I feel about
I want an Oreo shake.
I do too.
You can have mine. Have mine.
Cool. What's the address? I'll come right over.
We are now 1 minute and 27 seconds over.
For Neil, Clancy, myself, we appreciate you guys tuning into the Cardinal Squad Show. You guys can go to the YouTube comment set or YouTube description, follow us on all social media platforms. We will see you guys next Tuesday at 4 p.m. talking all things Cardinals and
Jaguars.
We actually might have a coach by then.
Jaguars.